Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. What a beautiful day for a Pirate Broadcast and interviewing interesting people doing interesting things. I just thrive on this opportunity to highlight and shine the light on other people in the community. And Cary is an amazing individual that has been working with others throughout her career, helping lift others and just make people feel amazing and always awesome when she's around. So Cary, thank you so much for being here on the Pirate Broadcast. And you're now officially a pirate. So thank you so much for being here.
Wow. I'm so honored. You're the one that makes everybody feel great. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'll receive that, and thank you. So, Cary, we've known each other for a number of years. I consider you a friend and
Absolutely
someone that I would go to for advice. And I know that you've had several opportunities to share that same feeling and lift others up in the community, and you've helped so many people. Kind of give us a snapshot of what you're doing now and how you got to where you're going and where you are right now.
Well, again, I just want to emphasize how much I appreciate having met you several years ago, because you helped us not only get Cinderella's CEO on air off the ground, our first podcast, which still exists, which we've kind of shortened now to C2 CEO on air. And so we worked really hard and really well together, thanks to you and you guiding us through the basics of getting one started. You're laughing because you remember
navigation through the treacherous waters, I'm sure.
Doing our intro and outro, all the things that, you're so good at. And so it's really been wonderful to see how you've grown your business. And I really love that. I love seeing and helping people grow their businesses and grow in their careers. And I guess it all started with, I was fortunate enough to be able to author a book called From Cinderella to CEO.
Mm-hmm.
And it was when I was in the hotel business full time. And it was at a time when women in particular weren't really traveling as much on business, but we saw the trend that they were going to grow. The market was going to grow for women business travelers. So while I was at Wyndham, I wrote the book, and we ended up building on this momentum of the book, which was all about mentoring and listening to women who have a whole nother perspective on industries. And the industries that listen and respond to women are really, they're benefiting so much and always have. So that's how we got started. And then from there, we've just been building on it. And from the Cinderella to CEO Awards that we did last year in New York, and this year we did research, which was funded by Texas Women's University, their Center for Women Entrepreneurs. And then what we learned from the research was so interesting, how women really value collaboration over competition.
Yeah.
Even the women leaders, we wanted to really study leaders, in particular women. We did research, we did survey some men. You probably got the link to the survey. And it was just interesting to see how collaboration, positivity, really compassion are really looked towards and reflected by leaders as the traits that they need to, or the traits that they've used to become successful.
Yeah. Well, it's an amazing opportunity to kind of see inside the mind of business owners, especially women, and kind of pull out some of the learning and education and some of the traits that you saw in that. And that actually accumulated, and you did an event highlighting some of these individuals as well. I remember that was a big occasion.
That was a big occasion and a big undertaking,
Yeah.
and, I have done award shows, many of them in my career, and I love them. I think
Uh-huh.
they're fantastic, and I don't know, I like the love the energy of just seeing the winners be surprised and deserving, and their teams, clapping and supporting them. People have earned
Yeah.
these recognitions. So we wanted to honor women who had overcome obstacles and barriers, who didn't look back. They kept going, and yeah, they stumbled, they failed in certain instances, but ultimately they just kept their eye on the prize,
Yeah.
and the eye on helping others. That was the other cool thing. And we really looked for, we were the I literally now feel like we've arrived at a place where we're Cinderella to CEO we're the champions of
Mm.
the Cinderella comeback,
Yeah.
and we want to honor people and help people who want to be the best they can be in all aspects of their being.
Yeah.
And, because it sounds kind of trite to be the best you can be, but, if you look at your whole, all the aspects of just living, you've got your work life, your home life, your community life. And I think the pandemic in particular has shined light on the fact that it's more difficult than ever and maybe should never have been separated. But we have, we have to take all of this into consideration as
Well,
leaders.
I think community is so. I mean, one thing that the pandemic has done is make a lot of make a lot of people realize how important community actually is.
Yes.
And it's one of those things that, it sounds kind of cliche, but you really notice you miss it until it's gone.
Oh, I know.
And it's really one of those things. I've networked for years. I know you're very active in the community, and these things that we no longer have immediate access to
Mhm.
are some of the things that we're having to work around. And that's where I want to kind of talk about now
Yeah.
is this idea that now, you had that event pre-pandemic, and yeah, a large gala. It was in New York. It was like this huge undertaking, and an amazing outcome. And the reality is that's probably going to change, and we don't know how long.
Yeah.
We don't know how long it's going to take place. So I think it's important for us to navigate through some of these waters and understand
Absolutely.
what is happening next. How are we going to get that same feeling, pursue that same emotion and a recognition for others in
Mhm.
this particular environment. And I know that you and I've had several conversations around that and what you can do and how we can
Mhm.
work together to make that happen. And so, virtual
Absolutely.
events are on the horizon more and more all the
Yeah,
time.
that's a really great point. Going back to the research too, two things that came up out of it is that 68% of the people surveyed were willing to change industries, change careers. And so we've gone deeper dive into that. Um, a lot of the people surveyed are in the hospitality and
Yeah.
travel industry. And so those transferable skills that people in hospitality have are service industry traits.
Yeah.
They want to help people. They want to provide a community. They want to
Absolutely.
provide experiences that delight and take people into other dimensions.
Yeah.
And so as we're looking at, whether the awards and that is the plan is to take them virtually next year. Yes, I look forward to hopefully working on that with you in a way that we can build upon the fact that, a virtual community especially for certain generations, is not something that was done, you know,
It's not
70%
typical.
of the time, right? I mean,
Yeah.
now it's 80% of our life virtual is versus maybe 20 or 30% for probably the baby boomer generation. And
Uh-huh.
then the generation Z and X and Y or whatever that, they were much more, I guess, digital natives, as you say.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so they're more used to the online community, but everybody was used to, seeing people in person and hugging and handshaking. And
Yeah.
so we're at a crossroads of how do we combine, I guess, accelerating that to
Hmm.
a point where how do you get that feeling from people, is it possible to
Yeah.
do it
Is it
virtually?
possible? And I believe that somewhere in between live events and large gatherings and going completely digital, there has to be something, and there's a combination, and I think it has to be done in a smart way. And social distancing is the theme right
Yeah.
now, and
Hmm.
we don't know it. I mean, I was having a conversation the other day on the show, and it was like, well, what happens if this is 3 years, last 3 years? What happens if it lasts 5 years?
Yeah.
We have to start thinking about what our business is going to pursue under those conditions, under those guidelines. And
Yeah.
it's like any other entrepreneurial decision. You have to decide, okay, here are the circumstances I have to deal with. It's the obstacle is the way is, kind of the Stoic philosophy. And you have to
Hmm.
think about, okay, well, let's deal with that. Let's put it out there. Let's recognize it for what it is. And then let's start working around that subject. And I know a lot of podcasters are exploding. A lot of live
Hmm.
streaming is taking place.
Hmm.
I've done virtual events for people. I'm continuing to do virtual events. And it's really one of those things that you have to understand, okay, what are the limitations are that I may not necessarily have the opportunity to get 1,000 people in the room. However, I can get 1,000 people in a virtual room,
Hmm. Hmm.
and there's no geographic boundaries at that point
Yeah.
in time. So there's opportunities as well as obstacles.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
navigating that decision process has to be part of the equation.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm. Oh my gosh. It's so, I guess we have to look at it as, goes back to the point that was made in the survey as collaboration.
mhm,
And this whole idea of, okay, we're going to have to figure this out together. Otherwise, and I think this is one of the stalwarts of being an entrepreneur is to understand we will get further together as entrepreneurs. When you think of a corporation, all these people in a big corporation, all that brain power, they collaborate, they work together. Sometimes there's silos and there's politics and things, but I
yeah,
think the entrepreneurs that figure out, like, work together,
uh-huh,
don't be, I mean, I don't want to say you can't be competitive because that is absolutely, the basis of the capitalist society, I guess. But back to my conscious capitalism days.
yeah.
Or, but
Compete against yourself, the person you were yesterday. That's what I
what?
say.
Say it again. What?
Compete against the person you were yesterday.
Oh, I love that. It's like golf, right? You're not.
It's like, I'm just trying to improve my own score.
Yeah, God knows, and I need to. By the way, I've learned to play pickleball. Have you ever played?
I have not. I have several people that are really active in pickleball and they love it. So,
Maybe I brought this up to you before when we were prepping for the show, but
yeah.
it was really fun. If you haven't played out there, it's like tennis and ping pong and badminton kind of all combined.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, you compete. I'm literally competing against myself with that type of, now, like,
Uh-huh.
can I run? Can I keep my eye on the ball?
Can I
So
can I move quick enough to get across the
yeah, yeah,
court?
yeah.
Yeah.
So it is, these are interesting times. And what do you think, this is one of the parts that came out of the survey too, I wanted to bring this up again, is probably 60% of those surveyed said that they really had they had the need and the desire for coaching in addition to community and curriculum, learning, development. So learning and development, community, but also, have you ever had a coach? Just curious, like a
Oh,
lot of, yeah,
I've had several coaches.
yeah.
I'm a believer in coaching, and the thing that I really like and enjoy as well is masterminds. You know,
Yes,
having a mastermind where you're having a group of individuals, like-minded individuals that can lift you up and call you out and keep you accountable. Because I think there's two sides of that. Is, you know, the highest performers are the ones that you'll find that typically have coaches. You know,
yes,
and coaches,
exactly.
the best coaches have coaches.
Exactly. That's so interesting because a lot of people don't realize that CEOs, I mean, 99% of the time have a coach. You
Mhm.
know, that's helped them in their career. They've had a sponsor, a mentor, a coach.
Yeah.
When you've done your masterminds, has it been in the podcast field, in the engineering field, in the communications field? Just curious, or business, just in business in general.
A combination, depends on the mastermind. I've been in masterminds where it's strictly business
Mhm.
oriented in how to navigate through your business. I've been in masterminds. I have two masterminds that are focused on more on the tech space, more
Mhm.
online, you know, web development and content creation space.
I
And
think
then
that
I'm getting one started right now around lead generation. I'll be hosting one on lead generation and how to utilize live streaming and podcasting in
perfect.
order to accomplish your goals. So
That's fantastic. That's really going to be helpful to people. I think the mastermind groups, C to CEO, we
mhm,
are also doing that and featuring a CEO of an industry, a high profile person in the industry. Like for instance, later this afternoon, and we'll rebroadcast it. But Cheryl Nash, who
mhm,
is the CEO of a company called Tegra 118, which is a very successful financial wealth technology firm. She's going to explain it much better than I do. But if you work for Charles Schwab or any of the trade
yeah,
houses, they do all the technology behind that. And she has risen to the top as CEO. Fantastic story.
oh
Oh, and
wow,
Ellen Voy, who's CEO of and founder of Women in Trucking. She was the grand prize winner of the Cinderella CEO Awards, and she'll also be one of the CEOs that we highlight in the next week. And so basically, people come on to the show, hear what the CEOs have to say, and then we have a panel discussion right after that with experts who have that delve into the uh, really the meat of what they've said to
uh-huh,
apply the different rules or the different learnings from what the CEOs have talked about. But the thing that we're working on, and I'd love to hear what you think about this, Les, is we have, before we open up the podcast live, we have in the waiting room, if you will, or
mhm.
in the practice session room, a chance for this group of 8 people to meet the CEO and the panelists together as a mastermind group. So they get that one-on-one time, at least to meet the CEO directly before we open it up. And
Yeah.
I think it's really going to be, we're trying that today for the first time. So
Oh, very cool. Very cool. I love the idea of being able to, you know, because the reality is, Cary, that CEOs are people as well.
yes, exactly.
And the best CEOs are the ones that listen to the audience, gain
Mhm.
clarity through the collaboration of others, and really look at the vision that needs to be in place in order to allow others to succeed. You
So
know, and
true.
I believe those are traits that really are from what I've my experience in CEOs and working with CEOs is they're really forward thinking with the idea that we're all going to succeed, and it's not just the individual that's going to be successful. It's more about us, we, rather than me, and mentality. And I think that's really why women as CEOs are successful, because I think there's a little more empathy and a little less competition, and or at least those are traits that I've noticed in a lot of CEOs.
It seems to bear out that the collaborative nature of people who, especially women who have been raised or nurtured to be collaborative and
Mm-hmm.
support others, they tend to be, and the data is bearing out that the companies that promote women um, promote women basically in the
Yeah.
workplace, those companies are more successful on the profit and loss side. They can show the results over several years, that because they promoted women, that company's been more successful. So,
Yeah.
and I think that women and men who do this as CEOs or leaders, if they see Russ Johns or Cary Broussard, and they see in us, they stretch us to do something we didn't think we could do,
Yeah.
and they allow us space to uh, maybe fail, but definitely succeed ultimately. They give us that confidence to do that, and so I think that's what I really want to be able to do with Cinderella to CEO, Seat to CEO, is to recognize the people and bring into the community those people who understand the value in doing that, and reward them for that. By the way, if anybody wants it's pretty obvious, cinderellaceo.com. You can go to the website and learn more about what we're doing. And if you go to Cinderella CEO on Air, the podcast, just know that Russ Johns is behind that. And he helped us get that off the ground. And thank you so much for that.
You bet. You bet. Always willing to help, Cary, because you're an amazing individual doing great work, and
Oh, thank
I know
you.
you and Logan are doing some amazing things in the community as well. So I just want to give a shout out, Cary, to some of the individuals that are here. Matt Mohawk,
Hey,
excited
Matt.
for this conversation. So he's here. Ronit is in the house. Tapas Das, he's here just for a quick hello. I know that I know that there's several people that I know are excited to be here. Mark Morrison, hello, and ready to be motivated. Well, I hope so. And Russ and Leah Hedge,
Hey.
over from Oregon, and Mark LaCour. Houston Pirates are in the house. Thanks for being here, Mark. I really appreciate it. And Mark also said that if you start hearing an echo, drop off and come back in. So,
Okay.
and Sherry Lawley, good morning, Russ and Cary. Sherry, who runs Slap Tags, Cary, is CEO. She does a lot of work in the construction and healthcare industries.
Cool.
She has her business out there doing some great work. Russ and Leah Hedge, great info, Cary. We must learn, adapt, and grow.
Absolutely.
For those that,
Thank you, Russ.
yeah, and then also Marcello. Hello, Russ. How are you? I'm doing well, and thank you so much for being here. And then Liz Lawless, Creative Catalyst. Hi, Russ and Cary.
Hey,
So
Liz.
thank you so much for being here. Have a creative Thursday. Hey, Pirates. Cary, and thank you everyone for being here for the podcast. I read those out so people can recognize that. Yeah, if you're listening to the podcast in the future, you'll know that there are other people that join into the live stream. So
Very cool. Yeah, I've been following you on LinkedIn and all the people that come on your show. It's great.
it's amazing. It's an amazing community, and I know that there's a lot of great people that are willing to participate and get involved and engaged in the community and support each other. You know,
Mhm.
I feel nothing but support when I come in here and I, you know, connect with individuals and reach out and you know, booking the show 5 days a week
That's a
for,
lot.
you know, this is I'm reaching almost 300 episodes now,
Wow.
and so we'll just continue to grow and shine
Go
the light on
Russ.
a few other people.
Go Russ. You're the
So what?
podcast guru.
So what's next on the horizon for Cary and Cinderella to CEO and
Quite
being
a lot.
yeah, talk
Quite a
about
lot.
it.
I think, we are all pivoting in this arena. I'm really focusing on, we continue to have our public relations and marketing arm that's very active. You mentioned our creative director, Logan,
Mhm.
who is busy doing his really editing on the broadcast side and creative direction in branding. And then we've developed this C to CEO coaching curriculum and community
Mm,
that is growing and developing based on the fact that that's what women told us they wanted. And we're not necessarily limiting it to women because women lead men and men are involved in working with women, obviously.
yeah.
But it is really just the women in particular are still in a situation where we need a community that helps women excel in a way that is different.
Mhm.
And the difference is that, for instance, right now we're looking at women are unfortunately having an issue with staying home with the kids while they're learning remotely.
Yeah.
They're Men are doing it too, but women in larger numbers are having to step away from their jobs, and so that's going to pull women in lots of different directions. It is now, and so we have to figure out a way. This is why technology, thank you, technology,
Yeah.
and the CEOs that understand that technology is helpful to keeping women in the workforce.
Yeah. Yeah. I, and we need diversity in the workforce. We
Yeah,
need the women. And
absolutely.
having grown up with four sisters, I understand and appreciate how valuable.
I forgot that.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
it's like
I'm one of four girls, and we have one boy. The brother, we have one brother.
yeah. So I was the one brother, Cary.
Oh, y'all turn out so well. Look at you. I should have remembered that, of
Yeah.
course. Yes, your sister and yours. I know you work some with your sister, and I'm working some with my sister, and it's
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's good.
Mel's my right arm now. You know, a few years ago, we moved to Arizona to support mom and dad, and
Yeah.
uh, you know, like many people, they don't really understand what I do. It's like, well, you work on the computer all day. That's all I know.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's true. I do. And my sister has traveled so far and learned so much in the last few years, and now she's
Wow.
like booking episodes and producing shows and you know taking care of websites and you know some of the marketing that goes on and it's just really amazing to
It's
watch.
a family business
It's
now.
a family business now. So, and we
Yeah.
continue. She gets excited about it because she knows and she can see the outcomes and the challenges that we go through and the wins that we have as far as that. And it's that kind of collection of
Mhm.
emotion and attachment and excitement that I think that women bring to the table. You know, they can have great wins and they can have great opportunities presented to them, and they take ownership. They grab a hold of it. They learn what needs to be done, and they continue to grow. And I get excited when I can involve anyone that wants to learn. So
Yes,
that's
absolutely. And there's so many people that do want to learn, women in particular. Diversity is the key to
mhm.
success of business. And one last thing I would tell you that I think is so interesting when I think about, Stephen Colbert working with his wife. She was his production team, bringing his show every night. All the people who are bringing in their family members because we're sheltering in place. Yeah. It's like, kids are holding boom light, sound and light fixtures. Yeah. And, it's really that there are some positives. We have to always remember what's in this horrible time of the pandemic. There's some positives that have come out of it working with family.
And I've talked to so many people that are actually, I've been working from home. I've been a remote worker for a decade and literally, the impact on my life has not been drastic in terms of, I'm not going out as much. I'm not networking to the degree that I was or anything like that. However, as far as my work life goes, it's not a lot of change. So I'm fortunate and very blessed in that regard.
Yes, absolutely.
However, I have seen an increase where my business has increased because I'm helping others get to the same level of independence from travel and meetings and face-to-face events. So
that's great. You've been such a good resource for people who are maybe starting from scratch.
Yeah, with this. Absolutely.
I know how that goes.
Yeah. Well, Cary, thank you so much for being here. I know that you all the success in the world and you just keep shining the light on other people. It never gets dull knowing that there are other people out there doing great work. And so if you can facilitate that, help the women in the community shine their light on other people, it just keeps going. And the gratitude and the goodness can never stop. So as long as we do that with intent and a little bit of empathy, because, let's help each other out. Let's just keep it moving forward.
I love it. Thank you for being a great example of that. And it's such a pleasure seeing you and being on your show.
Well, thank you so much. And we will see everyone again tomorrow, same channel, same time. And follow us on YouTube, like and subscribe to the channel to get notified. Facebook, we're on Facebook, on Periscope, over at Twitter, and also LinkedIn Live every single day, 5 days a week. Not every single day. How do you say that? 5 days a week. 5 days a week.
But you're working 7 days a week.
I work 7 days a week. I like, it's not work if you love what you do. So it's one of those things. I do take breaks though. So we got to remember that. So.
Thank you. Good. Take a break. I'd love to see everybody at cinderellaceo.com/discovery.
Yep.
You can sign up for a discovery call with me and we can talk further.
And you're on LinkedIn as well?
Oh, absolutely. On LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all the
places.
I just started YouTube recently, got back on that. And then, of course, Cinderella CEO on Air is on Spreaker and iTunes. And
all those places.
We're there because of you. Thanks, Les. Thanks so much, Russ. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, everyone. Kindness is cool. Smiles are free. So you enjoy your day.
Kindness is cool. Thank you. And you are too, Russ. Thank you.
Take care, Cary. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about,